Good morning, everybody. It's January the 24th. That makes it a Sunday. When you're retired and you're kind of living in not complete isolation, but pretty good isolation, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It is what it is. And for those of you that don't know me all that well, this time of year is very hard for me because I if I'm not careful, I end up with a head cold. That doesn't take very much to do. All I need to do is go out and breathe in some fresh air, and I have a head cold. So I tend to live in pretty well isolated situations in the winter anyway. Then add COVID on top of that, and it like I say, it is what it is. So when you don't hear from me, it's not because I don't want to do it. It's because my energy is low. I have escaped getting a sinus infection, but I did get bronchitis and asthma, of course, is always involved with that. So when I have low energy days, which the last 3 days were, 2 days before that, I was just going like crazy. Anyway, so I'm always writing. When somebody, usually somebody that I'm working with the horses, makes a comment to me, or we've had an online discussion about what they're doing, it always brings up a whole lot of thoughts to me. And so if I write them down, then they're down. It's getting harder and harder for me to keyboard because of seeing the keyboard and then looking at the screen and dealing with all the little idiosyncrasies of doing that. So I thought, well, it's easy for me to write, so I can read my writing and ad lib, because what I was doing before was I was writing and then I would text it into my computer, and I could add whatever extraneous things I wanted to put in that to round out the picture. But I can flap my jaw much easier than doing that route. So there's a couple of thoughts that I want to give you, because I'm still working on this winter series. Because people, you know, when you go buy a vehicle, especially if it's a new vehicle or a new or used vehicle, they come with the owner manuals. And if you have the time and energy to read those owner manuals, then you can figure out a whole lot about that vehicle, a whole lot of stuff. But we don't come with an owner's manual. And not only that, our parents, our immediate family, and oftentimes our school teachers and people that we're interacting with, they didn't come with the manual either, and they don't necessarily have it all figured out. They're working from their knowledge base, their education, their belief systems. But as we progress as human beings, every decade or generation thinks, well, we've got this figured out better than the generation before. And that may or may not be true, but in terms of figuring out how humanity works, it is true. So and the other thing is that if one horse person, male or female, man or woman, kind of steps forward and says, this stuff that I'm teaching you, this is all my stuff. If somebody does that to you, then they're either lying to you or they're lying to themselves. So, and artists know that too. So anyhow, one of the people I've been listening to since I moved to Vancouver Island, I discovered him while I was there, and I'm now back in Langley, where I consider home. I started reading and listening to Warwick Schiller, and he has two terms that are really important. One of them is learned helplessness, and the second one is submissive obedience. He was talking specifically about horses, and even high-level horses that are tuned out. They're shut down to whatever degree, and it comes in varying degrees. So he was talking, my understanding was that he was talking specifically about horses. But I'm going to take those terms and apply them to people as well. And it doesn't have to be people, it can be anything with a spine and a pulse and whatnot. So remember those two terms because they're important. Learned helplessness and submissive obedience. Very powerful thoughts and terms. So having said that, I need to pay attention to the time here. I'm already at 6 minutes. So I'm going to shut this off and I'm going to start again because I'm going to talk right away again about learning new self-control. So I'm just going to shut this off and restart it so I don't end up with a videotape that takes 3 hours to download. I'll be right back.